Good day. I'm Hannes Theron, a reverend of the Dutch Reformed Church in South Africa, stationed in Somerset West at the congregation in Helderberg. And I just want to put it clearly, I'm not an academic, I'm a pastor. And I enjoy to be a pastor. And it is wonderful for me to help also the academic people to serve the church. And it is wonderful to be part of this discussion about missional church. And our topic for this day is a framework for missional ministry development. But to talk about missional, it is not only a theological theory at all. It is more than that. It is a story of God, a real story of God with a real church, with real people. And that it is wonderful for me to start it with that topic around the story of the Dutch Reformed Church in South Africa. And if I have to summarize the story of the Dutch Reformed Church, I will do it in the following word. A move from a powerful church of the state to a missional church. And that is the story of the Dutch Reformed Church. There was a time in the history of the Dutch Reformed Church that we and the government would act as one. We were in the whole process of doing things together. And that wasn't a good time. Not at all. And as you know, although apartheid ended 25 years ago, recovery from its systematic racial discrimination is a difficult and ongoing process. Apartheid literally means apartness and was a system of government implemented in South Africa between 1948 and 1994 that separated people according to race in every aspect of daily life. And you know, we are still struggling with it. We're struggling with it as church, with this apartness. We're struggling as communities with this apartness. We're struggling in our country with this apartness. And apartheid influenced all of us. It influenced me. It influenced the whole church. And we have to change. To give you some feedback of the Dutch Reformed Church in South Africa, we are about 1,158 congregations with a total membership of 1,074,765 members. So that is quite a big church in South Africa. We have 10 synods, and Namibia is also one of that synods with 144 presbyteries or circuits. And we have 1,600 ordained ministers. Quite a big church. And as a church, we just realized we need transformation. From the 80s, in the time of the struggle against apartheid, and from 1994, when we started with a new democracy, we realized we need transformation. We need to transform from a church of the state with power to a church of the minority with less power and a lot of shame. We just realized we are not so big as we thought that we are. We are only a small church in a big country. We are a church with a membership of 1 million people in a country of 40 million people. And there's a lot of other churches. And as white people, because the Dutch Reformed Church, all its members are white, or nearly all its members are white. And we sit with a lot of shame about the history of apartheid, because we were part of that history. And if you ask me, but how is it possible that you can be part of such a system and doing nothing. That's true. And that is our shame, and we have to live with it. We have to change from a church, put a lot of focus on maintenance to missional. Because in a church, we put the focus on maintenance. It is about our people, it's about our congregations, it's about our culture. To understand, now, we are part of God's mission. And from membership to discipleship, when I was trained as a pastor, I was trained, well, that is how I experienced it, to help people to be loyal members of the Dutch Reformed Church. Today, I'm not there anymore. I'm there to help people to understand what it really means to be a disciple of Jesus Christ. And as church leadership, we realized that we are in uncharted territory. It is not easy. And there's a lot of challenges. We have not answers for everything, for all the problems. And the biggest question that we have to deal with is, are we really church as God meant it to be? That is the big question. We can also put it like that. Are we really part of God's preferred future for the church? That is the big question. And that is the question that we have to deal with in the Dutch Reformed Church in South Africa. And that question brings us to the missional theology. And missional theology created an openness towards a new ways of thinking and embodiment. It helped me to experience and see theology from another angle and to understand it from another angle. Alan Roxburgh put it quite well. He said, God is up to something in the world that is bigger than the church. Even though the church is called to be sign, witness, and foretaste of God's purpose in this world. Yeah, and we have to realize, God, the things that God is busy with is even bigger than the Dutch Reformed Church, than any church. And as Rowan Williams put it, it is not the church of God that has a mission. It is the God of mission that has a church. We are there for God's mission, not because we have a mission. A missional way of life calls us away from answers with formulas and blueprints. It is an invitation to move out of our comfort zones. And that is what the missional movement do. It helps you to think out of the box and to live out of the box. All the churches does and is should live out God's life in the midst of the world. Missional people should practice this God's life before a watching world. Isn't it beautiful? To know that we are in this world, people practicing God's life before a watching world. And the places where we feel like we have little control and don't know what is going to happen are exactly the places where God's future breaks forth. And that is a wonderful place to be. To be on that places where you don't know all the answers, but ask the questions, what is God up to? And that brings me to the 6 habits that we have to learn as church. And the 6 habits in the missional church is the first one, to dwell in the Word, to stay in the Word, and to be controlled by God through His Word, to be transformed by this Word. Not as experts of the Word, but to know through this Word, God touches us, changed us, transformed us. But also dwelling in the world, to listen and to see what's going on in the world, and to ask questions like, what is God up to? What is God busy? What is God busy telling us in what is going on in the world? As in South Africa, as in every country. Hospitality. To understand that the church is there to be a place where people can be safe and experience the church as a safe place to be. A place where he or she can be in the presence of God and experience God's presence and change in his or her life. And corporate spiritual discernment to help people to think together and with each other, what is God up to? And to be busy with that big questions every time when we are together. And to announcing the kingdom of God. To help people to see the realness of this kingdom in a world where we are confronted with a lot of pain, with a lot of sadness, with a lot of cruelty, with a lot of things that is not good. And to focus for missional action. And to be the whole time busy with things that God is up to. In the 1988, the World Council of Churches formulate their understanding of what it really means to be a missional church. And they formulated it quite well. They said, we are challenged by the vision of a church that will reach out to everyone, sharing, caring, proclaiming the good news of God's redemption, a sign of the kingdom and a servant of the world. We are challenged by a vision of a church, the people of God on the way together, confronting all divisions of race, gender, age, or cultural striving to realize justice and peace, upholding the integrity of creation. We journey together as people of God, of prayer. In the midst of confusion and loss of identity, we discern signs of God's purpose being fulfilled and expect the coming of God's reign. We expect the healing of human community, the wholeness of God's entire creation. And I think they put it quite well, what it really means to be a church of God, to be a mission of God, to be a missional church. And that brings a lot of change also in the Dutch Reformed Church. In our discussion and thinking about what it really means to be missional, we have to change. And in 2011, on our General Synod, we formulated a declaration about our understanding of being a missional church. And I put it to you. The Dutch Reformed Church thanks God for the change to be his church in such challenging times, within the South African context, working together with other churches. God's love and grace is undoubtedly wide and deep. The Dutch Reformed Church realizes and has learned from history that we can only truly be the church of God if we are willing to sacrifice ourselves and to follow him wherever he may lead us. The triune God sends us into the world that he created to witness to the love that he has for his entire creation. Isn't it wonderful? As church, to say, we have learned from history that we can only truly be the church of God if we are willing to sacrifice ourselves and follow him wherever he may lead us. And that is a big thing to say. And in 2013, we adopted the framework for missional ecclesiology and leadership, and you'll receive a copy of that. And in that document, we just said, leadership training for missional churches emphasizes innovation. It is training that encourages and supports creativity and imagination. It also relates to the power of metaphors and narratives and the ability to ask open creative questions. And Peter van der Walt, he will go further to help us also to understand the new insights that we discover in our process of God's mission with us. Thank you very much.